Good afternoon folks, and welcome back to the Adams Eats Kitchen. How are we doing? Hope you had a good weekend. Now, I don't know if James is going to be in this video because, well, it's like 1:45 on a Sunday afternoon and he's still in bed. He's fast asleep, gone. But I need to crack on with the video, so I'm just going to leave him to it. He might join us later, I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, onto the recipe. I'm going to make a classic toad in the hole. Now basically, toad in the hole is just sausages cooked in a Yorkshire pudding. It's that simple, and I'm going to serve it with a nice rich onion gravy, which isn't out of a packet because you just don't need to, right? It's really simple to make as well. It's just onions, caramelised down, then you add some beef stock, you know, some other bits and pieces, bit of Worcester sauce, and you just let it reduce down till you have a nice thick rich onion gravy to go with your toad in the hole. I don't know why it's called toad in the hole either. I mean, what, are the sausages the toad? Is the Yorkshire pudding the hole? A sausage looks nothing like a toad. I don't know, maybe you know more than I do. Let me know in the comments. Right, so let's crack on with this recipe. If you look down below in the description, you can get a list of those ingredients. And of course, if you press that pause button now, you can get a list of them there as well. And whilst James is snoozing away, the first job I need to do is slice some onions. Right, okay, so I'm going to start slicing these onions. We need to get these on now because they need to cook nice and slowly whilst we get on with everything else. Now I'm using 3 onions here, and all I'm going to do is just slice them, just roughly, nice and thinly, peel it. Why is it on onions? Some of the paper is just really difficult to get off. It's one of the things in the kitchen that drives me absolutely batty. Anyway, once you've peeled the onion, all we're going to do is just slice it nice and thinly, just like that really, nice and thin. Then we're going to get that into our saucepan. So I'm going to crack on, finish the rest of these onions, and then we'll move on to the next step. Right, okay, so I've finished slicing the onions. They're in the saucepan here. Now I know that looks like a lot of onions, but trust me, they will reduce down a lot as they cook and caramelise. So to that I'm going to add just a drizzle of rapeseed oil. You can use vegetable or sunflower, it doesn't really matter. And then just a little bit of salt, and then some butter, just a nice generous knob. Then we need to get the hob on to nice and low, and what you need to do is to cook those down really nice and slowly on a very low heat for about 40 minutes to an hour. You know, you can leave it as you get on with everything else. And what you're looking for is a really nice, gentle, subtle caramelisation. You don't want them dark and black because that's just going to taint the flavour of the gravy. So I'm going to leave these to tick away. I'm going to turn them every now and again, just check on them. And whilst that's doing that, we'll brown our sausages. Right, okay, so I've got my sausages here, straight out the fridge. Now, toad in the hole is quite a frugal dish, but the one thing you can't scrimp on is the sausages, so use good ones. Now, these are just normal pork sausages, but they've got a really high pork content. I think it's like 97% pork. Now, I've got my roasting tray here, and I'm just going to pop them in. Use however many you want. I'm just going to kind of go by eye, but I think 8 is fine, 2 per person, and I'm going to cover these back up, and I'll pop those back in the fridge and have them in a sandwich later. So once you've got your sausages in the pan, I'm just going to go over with some vegetable oil, and I've also preheated my oven on full whack, around about gas mark 8, get it nice and hot, and these are now ready to go in the oven. Now what you're looking to do with those sausages is get them nice and brown, which should take about 10 minutes. Just turn them every now and again, get that nice caramelisation on the outside. We're not looking to cook them all the way through, we just want them brown, and then we're going to add the Yorkshire pudding mix, and then finish it off in the oven. Now you can fry them in a frying pan if you want, that's perfectly fine, but to save them washing up, I'm doing it all in one roasting tray. So whilst those are browning, we'll crack on and make our Yorkshire pudding mix. Right, okay, Yorkshire pudding batter mix. Now this is a really, really simple way, it's foolproof. Right, there's no weighing out of flour, no measuring of milk or anything like that. Now what you need is 3 glasses, mugs, cups, whatever, all the same size, and we're just going to measure out equal quantities of milk, eggs and flour. We're going to add a bit of baking powder, mix it all together, and that's it. So I'm just going to measure out the milk, same with the eggs. 1, I think 5 should just do it. Yeah, get those out of the way. And then again with the plain flour. Make sure you get it all over the work surface as well. And it's easy as that, no weighing out of anything. So now what we need to do is mix it all up. Right, so now we can get on and make the mix. So we're going to go in with our flour first, then the eggs, and then taking a whisk, you want to beat that together until it forms a really thick paste. Don't worry about the lumps, they will sort themselves out, and you'll see it's nice and smooth, but very, very thick. Now you can go in with your milk, whisk all that up together, and that's the basic mix done. And I'm going to leave this to one side whilst we finish browning the sausages, and then at the last minute we'll add the baking powder, salt, pepper, and I'm going to put in a bit of horseradish as well. So I'm going to stick this in the fridge, and I'll see you folks in a bit. Right, so I've taken the batter out of the fridge. We now need to season it up. So I'm just going to go in with some salt, just a little bit of pepper, say about half a teaspoon, and then just a small amount of baking powder. Again, about half a teaspoon, nothing more. That's just going to really help them puff up and go nice and crispy. And I'm also going to add a bit of horseradish just for a nice bit of extra flavour. Use as much as you like. I'm going to use about 2 heaped teaspoons there. Give that a good old whisk up. And that's the batter ready. And now we need to get the sausages out of the oven and then pour it over the top. Right, so let's get these out. And whilst the oil and fat in there is still hot, we need to pour over the mixture. Just get it all around. Just until they're underneath the sausages like that, and that needs to go back in the oven, just like that. Now turn the oven temperature down to about gas mark 6, and that'll take about 30 to 40 minutes to cook. And what you want is for the sausages to be nice and cooked through, and that Yorkshire pudding batter should be puffed up and nice and golden brown on top. So whilst that's cooking in the oven, we'll get on and make the onion gravy. Right, so let's crack on with the onion gravy. Now, these are those same onions that I left earlier. You can see how lovely and golden they've gone. When you see all these brown khaki bits on the bottom, they're all going to be lifted off by the stock and will be absorbed into the gravy. So keep it on a low flame still. We're just going to add about a tablespoon of plain flour. That's just going to thicken it up. Okay, just stir that in, and that'll just soak up all the butter and the oil that we put in the beginning. And just cook that out for about 30 seconds, again to take the rawness out of that flour. And then I'm just going to chuck in a bay leaf. Just squish it in your fingers to release those oils. And now we can hit it with a beef stock. Just going to put in about half, and that should start to lift off all those bits from the bottom of the pan. And I'm going to turn the heat up just a little bit to a simmer, and I'll add a bit more stock. And then we need to season it up, some salt, some more pepper, and then I'm going to go in with a few dashes of Worcester sauce. That's just going to add a bit of piquancy, as they say. Mix that all through. And that'll quite happily sit on the back of the hob, simmering away. Just keep an eye on it. If it looks like it's reducing too much, add a bit more stock. And all that's left to do, folks, is to wait for the toad in the hole to finish, and then we'll just serve it up with that gravy and then tuck in. Right, okay, so I've got the toad in the hole out of the oven. I think I left it just a little bit too long because it's kind of scorched on the top. But I like those kind of scorched bits anyway, so it doesn't matter. If you want less colour, then obviously just take it out a bit sooner. So what I'm going to do now is I've got these peas boiling away, I've got the gravy warming up, and then we'll dish it up and give it a taste. Right, here it is then. I've served up a portion of the toad in the hole, and I'm just going to serve up some peas with it. You can have what you want, mashed potato, carrots, any type of veg really. I mean, it's not the prettiest plate of food, and it's going to be very hard to make this look like a pretty photo. Right, because it's brown and green, but it's going to taste good. And then we've got this rich onion gravy just to kind of slop all over the top, and it'll moat itself round. And that's it, folks. That's your toad in the hole done. Right, okay, let's give this a bash before it goes cold. I'm not going to bother with the peas. We all know what they taste like. And get some of that sausage and a bit of that Yorkshire pudding as well, and of course lashings of that onion gravy. Let's go in. Perfection. Got that nice pillowy soft centre of that Yorkshire pudding. Those sausages are nice and meaty, and then those slightly charred bits of that Yorkshire pudding, which I really love. Now James will get to try some of this because he's having it for his tea. He didn't want to be in the video because he's feeling a bit rough.
Yeah, it's a very hungover James today, folks. Sorry.
Now I've always said that good British food, it doesn't look the best, but it certainly tastes it. Well, there we are, folks. That is my toad in the hole done. Easy as you like, and that rich onion gravy as well, which was bursting with onion flavour. Right, you can't have toad in the hole without onion gravy. Now don't go and slap a load of instant gravy granules on it because, you know, you've got really good sausages, you've made your own batter. Why would you want to use cheap gravy over something so delicious? So anyway, guys, that about wraps up today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below, let me know what you think. Also, if you've got your own way of making toad in the hole, then let me know about that as well. And if you'd like to show me some love and support, then click the subscribe button down below. And of course, stick around at the end because there'll be some links to some other videos. And if you're not a subscriber, there'll be a button for that as well. And I'll see you beautiful people next time for more tasty fun and frolics. And bye for now.